we're done. I don't want to be with you anymore. That stings, pulls the rug out from under you emotionally. It's like a grief, but the person you're grieving is living around the corner. I've cried myself to sleep more than once. I've woke up in tears more than once. Been driving around, going to work in tears more than once. You're nobody. You're nothing. I've had people in my life who've told me the same things, people I loved, but I refuse to continue letting that voice win. Not giving up is just keep going in spite of those feelings. It looks like getting out of bed in the morning. For me, I look for easy wins in the morning. Open the curtains, make the bed, take a shower, brush my teeth, take the dog out. The answer is in the gym, not the pub. I'm studying at the moment to be an accredited divorce coach.
What were the things that you wish you knew?
I think a message, if any guys are out there in difficult marriages but they genuinely love their wife and genuinely do not want to be on the other side of a divorce.
Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
We met a few times now, and I love your story. From what I've heard, I find it truly inspiring. I think one word that I picked up from your story is just perseverance and not giving up despite things happening in your life. So for me, I found that inspiring. Before we get into the conversation itself, I've got a little game.
Okay.
So you're going to give me 3 statements, and one of them has to be true. 2 are lies. Then I have to guess which one is the truth. And I'm going to give you a statement afterwards.
That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, you go first.
You go first. Okay, there's one. Let's think then. I was once junior pole vault champion for Lancashire.
Interesting. Junior pole. Okay, what's the story there?
It was just an athletics thing. I was very athletic as a kid and very good at pole vault.
Not much of a story. Okay. Keep going.
Convincing enough.
2 more.
Another one. Okay. I once was a lead guitar player in a world famous rock band.
Okay. Which band was this?
Couldn't tell you that possibly. They were very famous though.
Very, very famous, but you can't remember the name of the band.
I can't quite recall just at the moment. That one. A third one for you. I did once trek and climb the 4th highest mountain in Southeast Asia.
Wow.
Which is over 4,000 meters high.
Jeez. Okay.
You work out which one's true.
So 3 statements. You climbed the highest mountain, you were a pole vaulter, and then you played in the rock band. Obviously, the rock band is a lie. I think the pole thing was a lie because the story didn't add up.
Well, why does it not add up?
I felt like there wasn't enough substance in the answer.
Got it.
Yeah, there was just like, oh yeah, because I did this and
nothing to do with height.
Yeah. So I feel like it's got to be you climbing the highest mountain.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yes. Borneo.
One to me. I'm going to give you 3 statements. I've got a cat called Sandy.
Okay.
I've got 2 brothers. And then I once climbed a mountain in Japan. Yeah, those are 3.
See, I believe that one.
Okay.
You once climbed a mountain in Japan.
Okay. Well,
that's the kind of thing you do. It's the kind of place you would go.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your travels that you've done, and I think that one's very believable.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And I think you recalled that memory because of my climbing a mountain in Borneo.
Do you know what? That was a lie.
No way. Stop it.
So I won that one. Before we start, I want to ask you, for anyone that is listening to this podcast, what can they expect to get from this episode?
Crikey, they can expect some honest answers to difficult questions. Because I've been through a lot, good experiences, not so good experiences. And I'm well aware of mistakes I've made in life and the lessons that I've learned.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to get some honest answers and understand who I am.
I love that. Going off the back of that, who are you? Like, how would you describe yourself?
I'm Simon. I'm a pretty everyday Lancashire lad. The most important thing to me is that I'm a dad. The 2 kids, 2 boys. And I'm a good friend and very loyal. I'm very honest.
Yeah.
And I really want to live a life of positivity, which, as a lot of people can relate to, is not always easy. life happens. Often it can feel like there's more downs than there are ups. But I've got to this point, 51 years old, because I persevered and just kept going.
Yeah.
And if that can inspire somebody, then that's been worth it.
Thank you. Earlier on, before the podcast, I asked you what was your biggest achievement, and you said it was making it to 50.
I think it's making it alive to this age, because you lose so many friends along the way for one reason or another, and something's happened in life that could just tip you over the edge. And I think the fact that I'm here today, still making plans, setting goals, looking forwards, I think that's massive testimony.
Yeah. And talk to me about perseverance in relation to you and your story and how you got here today.
Well, crikey, how long have we got? I mean, I've kind of bounced through life, really, unintentionally, landing in one job to the next and relationships to the next. Never really made any career plans, didn't go to university, never grew up wanting to be a doctor or a pilot. So many people have these clear ideas of who they want to be, and I didn't. I knew I always wanted to be happy, successful. When you're young, you think you want to make loads of money.
Yeah.
But as I've become older, that kind of the chase for financial wealth has diminished. I think you need enough money to survive. But I've realized that I've always been looking for purpose. I think I've always felt like I was never enough, whether that was due to growing up one of 6 kids in a busy house, never feeling popular, never feeling part of the cool crowd. I was always the last kid to get picked for football at dinner time,
Yeah.
And the guy who would get his mate's girlfriends but always go home in a taxi on my own. I always felt like I was chasing something. And I guess purpose, I would bring it right back to finding purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm still searching for that right now. But like I said earlier, having the two boys, that is purpose for me. And I know the last 23 years of my life have been, my purpose was to get my kids up in the morning, get them to school on time, get them healthy food, give them a good life, give them holidays, provide for them.
Yeah.
That's been my purpose.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it at the time.
Yeah.
Felt like work. But 100%. And I'm kind of at the point now where I'm redefining post divorce, which I'm sure we'll come to. I'm redefining who I am at this point in my life, because I'm not who I was 25 years ago. I'm not who many people in the world think I am. I'm not who they may say I am. I refuse to live with other people's negative labels of who I am, who I was. And I'm kind of going through a process of reinvention, but with the same values. And I just believe that there's big things ahead and I can make a contribution to the world.
Yeah. Earlier I asked about, perseverance, and I think your answer led to purpose. And I suppose persevere, like you have to be able to persevere to eventually find your purpose.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
100%.
And I would love to get into the journey of, what changed in your life that made you start seeing, for example, having your kids and the duty you have to do for them. Now you're seeing it as a purpose. Before you said it felt like work.
Yeah.
What changed?
I think circumstances made me change, because I have 2 amazing children with 2 amazing women who came in my life at the right time when I needed, and I've been praying for these kind of divine connections almost. I really felt that both of those women came in my life at a time when I was struggling with many issues. And the 2 children are, without doubt, in my mind, gifts from God. And they came at times where I'd suffered adversity in the run up to that.
Yeah.
Through whether it was poor choices or just life stuff happening. I'd had periods probably of real lows in my life looking back that on the way out of those periods, I met these two
Yeah.
women and had two incredible children. So I think for me, it was change of perspective that even when bad stuff happens in life, there's something more around the corner.
Yeah. I think I love I'm not sure who said it. There was something about how whenever you're in a difficult situation, always try to get something out of it. Because
Yeah,
it's already taken so much from you.
100%.
And
I refuse to let those difficult situations, which I don't really want to go into today, but
yeah.
they were situations that could have been life defining for me, which I refused to allow them to be.
Yeah.
There were days I wanted to give up,
Mm.
but refused. Always felt God's hand on my life.
Yeah.
I always felt there was a promise of a future, but I always felt I needed to change in order to step into that future, which is pretty deep, getting deep early on.
Yes, it's good.
But
just feel free to share as much as you want. This is your space as well.
I just always, I think I said earlier, always felt less than.
Mm.
And when mistakes happen or when life happened, you kind of think, God, that's who I am. That's who I'm going to be. But I always knew that there was so much more planned for my life. I still feel it now.
Yeah.
I'm not done.
Yeah.
Whether
It's getting started.
Life's been done with me more times than I care to remember, but I am not done trying to be who I was born to be.
I found that interesting earlier when you say, for you, it was refusing to give up. What does refusing to give up look like in action?
I think it looks like getting out of bed in the morning. For me, I look for easy wins in the morning. Open the curtains, make the bed, take a shower, brush my teeth, take the dog out, have some coffee. I'm winning at life in small, easy to achieve ways. Dealing with the bigger tasks that come along. I guess it just is not succumbing to that lack of motivation, that desire to just stay in bed and keep the curtains closed and believe. I think it's this battle for me with inner dialogue, self-talk. You're having a constant conversation with yourself. We're talking now, and there's this voice in my head talking to me about what I'm saying to you, and it's all negative.
That sounds overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming, and there's been times in my life where that's felt like inner civil war, where I'm trying to be somebody, and there's this voice in my head saying, who you think you are? You're just this, you're just that, you're nobody, you're nothing. I've had people in my life who've told me the same things, people I loved, who when I've tried to step into being a better version of myself, have pulled me back down with, you can't do that. Why do you think you can do that? You're nobody. Why do you want to be better? Why do you want to be this or that? And you're nothing. You're nobody. And just keep trying to push that aside and silence that voice, which is never going to go away. I'm going to be living with this inner voice all my life. We all are. But I'm not going to listen to it and let it define me and tell me who I'm going to be. I have, but not giving up is just keep going in spite of those feelings, in spite of what you might call imposter syndrome. I didn't hear that label until recently, but I've always felt I wasn't good enough in every single situation I've ever been in. And that's pretty debilitating in life.
Yeah.
I've been the butt of jokes, because I'm not tall and whatever, and I laugh it off, and I'm quite good at poking fun at myself. But there comes a time when you just think, right, I'm done with all this now. Can you all just stop taking the mick and let me try and be somebody and do something positive? Because I really feel passionately that I can offer more to this world than what I've done and what I've been.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And not giving up is just thinking, right, okay, that's happened. Let's start from the beginning again. Let's rewind, take stock, and set some goals and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. I think what one thing I picked up from that, for that answer was finding the small wins. And for me, it feels like winning the morning was very important to you.
Yeah.
Doing the little things.
Yeah.
And it helps, reduce that noise in your head. Because then I feel like you're building evidence that, we're not giving up. And this is part of the evidence of me getting up in the morning, taking a dog for a walk. I think it's important. So for anyone that's listening to this, find a small win.
That's been a massive thing for me, certainly in the last couple of years when I've been through a massive amount of personal upset and massive change in life on the back of my marriage ending. Because, midlife crisis used to be someone would go out and buy a red Porsche.
A Ferrari or something
and
like that.
a lot of men now are finding at 50 years old or in the 40s, whatever, midlife crisis is your marriage ending. The financial, the emotional, the social, catastrophic effect on your life. It's pretty intense. So something as simple as making your bed, brushing your teeth, making a coffee, having a shower. These are ways you can win at life. And for me, it's silencing that voice that wants me to stay in bed, wants me to hide away from the world, not hit the gym, let myself go, turn to drink, maybe turn to drugs. That voice in my head would, you call it the devil, whatever you want to call it, would love it. It wants me to fall apart. It wants me to take that path of least resistance, to walk the road less traveled. And there are days when I kind of want to succumb to that. And maybe times when I have, to a degree. But I refuse to continue letting that voice win. So for me, the easy wins might sound simple. Things like, I brought a couple of books today that I've enjoyed, because buying a book's one thing, reading a book that you've bought, we're all good at buying stuff on Amazon. Reading a book, getting good at finishing a book. These are ways that you can massively build your self-esteem. I finished a book. There's no feeling like turning that last page and going, I just finished a book.
Done it.
Oh my God. I'm going to actually put this book on this shelf with the other ones that I haven't read. But this is one that I've finished. And it's a little notch on the self-esteem. Do you know what I'm saying? These are small
wins,
things that I actually fundamentally believe make a massive difference.
So one thing that you mentioned was by your divorce. And you said it earlier, we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
I would love to know how divorce shaped your perception of marriage.
No. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
No. I'm a massive advocate for marriage. The best day of my life, people always say the day the kids were born, there's no doubt they are the best days of your life. But the happiest day of my life was getting married.
Wow.
Because I'd always wanted to get married. I always felt people who were married were just better than single people.
Why's that?
I don't know. Because maybe it's the imposter syndrome there that nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. My mum and dad love me because they have to.
Yeah.
My brothers, but no one else, like the neighbours, the mates at school. Girls back then certainly weren't interested. But I got married. This incredible woman has chosen to... wants me to be her husband. So death do us part, richer for poorer, better for worse. I made those vows in a church, which was significant, and I made those vows for God, and I made them just willingly, and it was just the best day of my life. All my family and friends were there, all her family and friends were there, and you don't get married feeling like it's a ticking time bomb, and is it going to be 6 months, 6 years, 10 years? For us, it was 13 years together. I don't really count the 3 years of separation, because we were apart in more ways than one. And yeah, I'm just gutted that it's over. I'm gutted the way it ended. Would I do things differently? 100%. Do I believe it was all my fault? No. But are there lessons to be learned? Yes. And do I want to get married again? Yes.
Oh, I love that.
100%.
Despite all the heartache and everything else that's happened, you still...
Yeah, I mean, I've read books, heartbreaks, happiness, and all these kind of things can feel like cliches, but one thing I know is that I've got a lot of love to give. I don't want to spend the rest of my life, whether that's 30, 40, 50 years. I've got a written goal, by the way, to live to be 100.
Yes,
so
amen.
A lot of the small things I do each day are in line with that goal.
Yeah.
Self-care is massive. We'll come to that maybe in a bit, but self-care is huge. I don't want to be alone for those 50 years. My kids are going to be growing up. They are growing up. They're going to have their own lives. They already have their own lives. I'm potentially staring down the barrel of a gun of intense loneliness and solitude and solo traveling and solo. I go out for coffee and meals on my own. I have no problem with that. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I want to share my life with somebody significant.
And how did the separation made you more like? Did the separation make you more confident? And
no,
did not. Oh, interesting. Because like now, like for you, you're saying to me, you know, you feel comfortable going alone to doing stuff by yourself.
Yeah, comfortable is one way of looking at it.
Okay.
The separation made me very uncomfortable in a lot of ways. First of all, as a family, we were living in the same home for nearly a year and a half, which was difficult and toxic at times. No matter how much I tried to be out of the house and do things away from the home to create space, it didn't seem to help. And it undermined all of my core values. I would say I live my life quite value driven. Don't take that. I'm not on a moral high, you know. I just have very, very important values that matter to me, like loyalty, you know, integrity, family first, service of others. My love language is doing things for other people, no matter how simple, giving someone a lift, buying someone a coffee, whatever it might be. And I felt separation when that person who you love the most in the world sits you down and says, we're done. I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to move forwards together. That stings.
Yeah.
And pulls the rug out from under you emotionally. And then the process of getting divorced isn't done overnight. It takes 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, fighting over finances and dogs and spending time with the kids and uncoupling, unpacking a life that you've built together, plans for the future. They're gone. You know, it's just very destabilizing.
Yeah.
The only word for it, because you're not sleeping. You know, I've cried myself to sleep more than once. Yeah. I've woke up in tears more than once. I've been driving around, going to work in tears more than once. And I still have those moments.
Yeah.
You think you're doing okay and you're portraying this image of, okay, I've got my shit together now. But then it just comes and bites you on the ass, you know, and whether it's Christmas, New Year's Eve, birthdays, anniversaries. In a way, it's like a grief.
Yeah.
But the person you're grieving is living around the corner.
Yeah.
Getting on with their life and seemingly very happy, which is what you want. I have no desire to see my ex unhappy. Just hard. It's hard to reconcile these kind of like a tsunami of emotions.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I was going to ask you about, did you grieve the person you were in the relationship and how it made you feel, or did you grieve the relationship itself?
Yeah, I grieve the relationship itself. Yeah. I can see now that I could have been better. And arguments and mistakes and things, misunderstandings, whatever they were, weren't good.
Yeah.
I could see, and I can see now, having been through therapy and talking and different things, that a lot of self-reflection, you know, the ways I reacted to, you know, it takes two to tango.
Of course.
But ways I reacted weren't dignified. There's this massive thing about being amicable when you separate and split up, which I'm a real advocate for.
Yeah.
I think a lot of couples start off saying, look, we'll be amicable. There's a difference between amicable and dignified, you know, and I think they're lessons that I've learned. I would love a do-over.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But I would like to go back and rewind 3 or 4 years and have this conversation with myself.
Yeah.
And with my ex, and I'd have done anything to save that marriage.
Yeah.
I've done my fair share of begging and begging again and crying and thinking that might help.
Yeah.
And convincing and trying to rationalize the conversation and provide, and just to be met with no, we're done. I've told you before.
Yeah.
But what about if just? No. When statistics show that most separations and divorces are instigated by the woman, and that when they say they're done, they mean it.
Gotcha.
So I think a message, if any guys are out there in difficult marriages but they genuinely love their wife and genuinely do not want to be on the other side of a divorce, wake up.
Yeah, start having this conversation.
Smell the coffee.
Yeah.
Have the conversations I wish I'd had then.
Yeah.
Because there may be a time when it's too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't realize how often I would sit. I've still got a mark here where my wedding ring was. It's been 3 years since I took it off. And I used to always sit on the phone, just playing with, and I always remember thinking if I ever lost that ring, I'd have been gutted. Not because it's an expensive gold ring. I would have been upset.
Yeah.
For that reason, but what it symbolized, that symbolized everything to me.
Yeah.
It was the symbol of everything that mattered the most. So, yeah, I think that's what I would say about that.
When it comes to the rebuilding process, what helped you? Well, post divorce.
Well, friends helped me. Friends helped me a lot. I remember a good friend in the early days saying to me, "The answer's in the gym, not the pub." I like pubs. Pubs where
balance. Yeah, I mean, you can do
balanced diet.
Yeah.
But I did my fair share of sitting in the pub, and because I've genuinely got mates I go and meet, I do honestly believe pubs are important parts of our community. Getting on my soapbox now, and churches and places of worship. But for people who have no faith, which I do, the pub's where they go to do religion.
Yeah.
They watch football on the TV, they meet their mates, they drink beer, they laugh, they joke, they cry.
Yeah.
I've done all those things in the pub.
Wow, I didn't know pub was like that.
Yeah. I never wanted to be the guy at the end of the bar crying into his pint and being super negative. And I've done that on occasion because I'm only human. And I'm a very flawed human, very emotional, very sensitive person. And I've had days where I've felt overwhelmed, and just sitting with a couple of guys in the pub talking about snooker or football, it's been very helpful. It's got me through that day.
Yeah.
But the answer is in the gym, not the pub.
Yeah.
And
why's that?
Because it's part of building a healthier future. And again, we've seen each other in the gym.
Yeah.
You can be having a bad day in the gym, and someone can just come over and go, "Hey, dude, you're looking great.
Yeah.
I can see a change." And you're like, "Really?
Who, me?
What?
Me? This helps.
And even if they're just having a laugh or, saying on the treadmill, "Go on, go a bit faster." Or you can lift more. I'm known amongst my gym buddies that I kind of do more reps with easy weights.
Yeah.
And I think that's my way of being athletic.
Yeah, that's your rhythm. Yeah,
that's my rhythm.
Just
But
flow.
I know I can lift more.
Yeah.
But in my early life, 20s and 30s, I did lift a lot of weights. And because I'm only short and stocky, I got a little bit out of balance. So in my sort of post-40, I've tried to slim down and do more sort of kind of high reps, that kind of stuff. But I don't know, the gym always felt like I was building something positive, and it was stacking day on day, day on day. The gym would mean I would have a shake for lunch and drink herbal tea when I got home. Not going to the gym would result in a McDonald's drive-through and a cup of coffee. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was about building. And but that phrase, the answer's in the gym, not the pub, was something that really stuck with me. Another one was you change the things you can and you accept the things you cannot. I got to a place early on of accepting where I was at in my life. I was 48 years old, getting divorced. It was like do or die. I had to get into the right mindset quick. And, it had to be a positive one, not a negative one.
Yeah. Because I think we've spoken about it before. A lot of people could go the opposite way.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've had friends who've lost their lives through drink, drug, suicide, and the statistics point to men's mental health.
Yeah.
The statistics look at the rise in these men's health clubs like Andy's Man's Club. There's one in Lancashire, Ramy Men. These guys get together to do walking, hiking days out. They'll do gardening projects. They have talking groups. These men of all ages are creating a community and a fellowship. Two things I think are massively important. Their common denominator is mental health. For whatever the reason is, doesn't really matter, but they're coming together to recognise that they are in a situation where they need other people, which we all do. And I think they've helped a lot of people. I'm a massive supporter of those groups. And yeah.
I love that.
Amen. They're doing amazing work.
I love that. I think it's important. I think from what I summed up from that was just community, having people around you. Even though you did say about, gym, not a pub, but I felt like for you that the both were important
in their place.
Yeah. I think for me, communities is so important. Having people, that have your back, or people that can tell you the facts, and then come back and I think it's important.
Accountability is important, because our friend Gemma will say to me, "I've not seen you in the gym for weeks," and I'm like, "I've been there. You maybe just weren't there."
You know what I mean?
That voice is going, "You were not in the gym. You haven't been for 3 months." And I've not had the heart to cancel the direct debit. I
love that business model, to be fair. Gym is just a business model. People pay you, they might not even come.
I remember thinking, if everyone that's in the gym went on the same day,
it would be carnage.
Can you imagine? But I psychologically refuse to cancel that direct debit. And it's like Sky Sports. I don't ever watch football at home. I don't cancel the direct debit. But I think it's important that we have accountability.
Yeah.
Even my mates in the pub. Where were you Friday night? You said you were coming for a drink and you never turned up. It's someone saying you were missed.
Yeah.
We were looking forward to you coming out, or coming having a workout, or I go in the local cafe when I walk my dog, and I've met literally hundreds of people through that cafe. And I go in on my own, but I hardly ever sit on my own.
Yeah.
And if I don't go in for a couple of weeks, I'm away working or just busy with other stuff, people will say, "What? Oh God, are you okay?"
It's this drop off.
The drop off, and they're like, "That is a great community place," and they'll be like, "Where have you been? We didn't see you. We were in on Wednesday." So again, feeling like you have value to your community when people miss you when you're not there. This is where churches are great, and other places of worship. If you're not there, people miss you.
Yeah.
And for me, that was massive.
Talking about churches, how important how important was your faith as a Christian during this period?
It's been huge all my life. I was brought up in the Church of England. Mum and Dad took us to church every Sunday, but it felt functional.
Yeah.
It's just what we did. But as a young child, I always had this connection and really felt I wanted to know God. I was christened as a child, baptized, and then decided later in life, after a series of quite life-changing experiences. I'll never forget being in a nightclub in Hong Kong, 5, 6 in the morning, absolutely drunk,
Yeah.
People dancing on the bars, having a great time, and just having this feeling of incredible depth of loneliness that I cannot explain.
Wow.
And felt God saying to me, "I have so much more planned for you than this." I remember that moment, just walking back through the streets of rats everywhere and people drunk through the streets of Hong Kong, thinking, God, and then other experiences in life. Just one of the books I've brought, Purpose Driven Life, reading that book, thinking, yes, this is the best book and probably to this day, the most important book
Mm.
I've ever read. The copy I've got there, I've read through about 10 times.
Wow.
And I write, when I read a good book, I'll highlight, write in the margins, put the date. And that book is like, it's almost like document of my journey.
Yeah.
And I read things I wrote like in 2005 and think, my God, that young guy was in such a difficult place, asking God such important questions. And I'd love to go back and give that young guy a hug.
Yeah.
In the same way that maybe my future self, when I'm 80, will want to give me a hug now.
Yeah.
You know. And then I remember finding church in my late 30s, early 30s, sorry, just a bit boring. And then I got invited to do a course called Alpha, which was an introduction to Christianity, but clearly I was beyond that. But I signed up for this course anyway, and just loved it, but wanted to find a church that was more contemporary. And I remember just, I think I just Googled like happy churches. Is there such a thing? And that just opened my world into this new contemporary style of worship. And I joined a church in Burnley called Life Church. And someone told me at the time, because I was like, Burnley? Yeah. And they said, a church alive is worth a drive. I was like, yeah, but it's Burnley. It's massive. I don't think I'd ever even been to Burnley. And I actually rang up and made an appointment. And this girl on the phone, I remember she was called Helen. She was like, you don't make an appointment. You can just come. It starts at 11 o'clock. But I don't want to come and like be on my own. Yeah. And she's like, right, what's your name? I was like, Simon. I'll be there at 5 to 11. Just ask for me, or I've got blonde hair, whatever. And then she straight away said, this is Ian, this is Gareth, this is Pete, and this is Michael. And those guys became my mates. That led to me, because I've always played guitar, that led to me joining the worship team, playing guitar in the band. Which led to me one Sunday looking out and seeing this beautiful woman who just joined our church, never seen her before. I'm in the band.
Look at this.
I'm up here on stage.
You're strumming away.
We used to joke that she was blown away by me at the same time. Look at that guy's biceps.
Look at those guns.
I'm not sure it was true, but I heard that she liked coffee, so I managed to sneak into the queue in the self-service coffee machine and offered to buy her a coffee, which I think they were free anyway. We went on a date, which was a coffee, and within 6 months got married.
6 months? Wow, that's amazing. So church for you sounds like an important place.
It's been incredibly
community as well.
Incredibly significant things have happened in my life when I've moved towards God, not run away from him. That is without a doubt. I actually got baptized again a couple of weeks before we got married, because I realized, and I spoke to my wife-to-be, that I was aware then that I wasn't worthy of her and worthy of being married, and this voice in my head was like, oh right, we're gonna have a field day with this, because you're getting married. This is the highest calling of what God can bestow on human beings, so we're gonna really mess this up. And I was convinced that she'd work out in time, which she did, that I wasn't good enough for her. So and I knew that I'd lived a life of traveling and failed relationships, and I wanted to just be baptized again. I had this massive desire to be, and the church I went to was big on water immersion, not just sprinkling water on your head or whatever the babies do. This was a full body declaration of a commitment to a new life, and you're baptized in water. So I did that again as an adult. I chose to publicly be baptized again, which was incredibly significant, and set me off on a whole new life.
That's powerful.
Into the marriage, which I think I'm not really joined the dots until now. But I think why I was so broken by the divorce was because of how much I wanted to be married, and how much I knew then I wasn't good enough. I didn't need my wife 15 years later to tell me she'd worked it out. But I was still trying to beg for that chance to try again. Let me have another chance. Do you know what I'm saying? And I found it hard that she was going, nope, not this time. But I'd never signed up with a promise of that was perfect.
Yeah.
I never pretended to be anything at any point in our marriage other than who I was.
Yeah.
And hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? Because you have wisdom. You've already got the learning outcome from your behavior. When you're acting in the moment,
Yeah.
there's no debrief going on. There's no, okay, let's look at what happened now.
Let's
Let's look at the learning outcomes. What could we all have done differently? That's only available to us as people in the future. You know, ultimately we'll all be judged by God.
Yeah.
Eventually. But getting judged by those around us, especially those closest to us, and being told you're not enough, and is tough.
Yeah, that is tough. And it sounds like you're turning lemon into lemonade, because now you're embarking on this journey of becoming a divorce coach.
Yeah, I'm studying at the moment to be an accredited divorce coach, because I've found that I've been helping other guys in recent years informally get through similar situations.
Yeah.
And we've all kind of said, I wish we had someone when I went through that to help me, you know. I made a lot of mistakes by calling the solicitor. I'm upset about this, or we've just had a row about the dog, or and the clock's ticking, ding, ting, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching,
Yeah,
ka-ching.
ka-ching. Like,
Holy shit! I wound up with a legal bill,
which
I think was double what it could have been had I had a more practical approach.
Wow.
I was, because my lawyer was a nice guy, but he wasn't the right person to be pouring my heart out to.
Wow.
About my frustration, about my heartbreak.
You're thinking more of a therapist.
He didn't not care.
Yeah.
But when people are going through separation, divorce, they need a little bit of a team. They need friends. They need some support. They need a lawyer. They need a financial advisor. They need someone to perhaps mediate with their ex. They need maybe some counseling, some therapy. But I really believe there's a missing link, which is a coach.
Yeah.
Because a coach especially someone who's been there, done it, I can see ways now where I could have saved time and money with a better strategy. And I want to be that to somebody else. And I'm at a point where I've got capacity to help others. I've got the time, I've got the passion.
Yeah.
And it finally feels like purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm moving into the next, I'm going to be working now for the next 15, 20 years of my life. I kind of don't want to work any longer in a role that's purely functional.
Yeah.
Exchange for time and money. And I've never ever felt more strongly in my life God saying, "You've got it. This is it.
Yeah.
This is for you." Get accredited, because there's some skills as a coach that you need. You need to know about your safeguarding and these kind of things. So I'm not looking to hit the road with that right now, but within 6 months I'll be fully ready.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that will be a massive step into future.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You're looking to start your own podcast very, very soon.
Yeah, mate.
Right?
See how this goes.
Yeah. So we're talking about it, and what could people expect from your podcast?
They can expect, honestly, they can expect probably a lot of very practical, process-driven advice. But this word purpose keeps coming back. We have to get through the practical and process-driven elements of divorce before we can move into purposeful living, stepping into a life worth having, a life worth living, you know? That's what we all want.
Yeah.
We want lives worth having, lives worth living. But it's very hard to see life after divorce because it's like, for me, it was like losing treasure. When you lose something, like if I'd ever lost my wedding ring, I'd have been absolutely gutted. And also there's that consideration of, but who's found that ring? The person who's found that ring doesn't understand its value. It's just a ring. They don't know what it symbolized to me. I feel that way about my wife. I wish her nothing but happiness, but I've lost something that was valuable to me. And I'm as equally upset that someone else is going to find that treasure.
Yeah.
And will they understand how valuable she is? You know, hopefully they will. And helping others with that those challenges.
Yeah.
Because I talk to men in the early stages who are literally heartbroken. And I used to say to my ex, I have feelings too. I feel a lot of men sometimes, we're expected to be tough. We're expected to be strong. When men show emotions in public, people go, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
It's unusual.
Yeah.
But men are very sensitive, certainly when it comes to their family.
Yeah.
And losing that is a tough pill to swallow.
Imagine.
So I want to be there to help and support and encourage. And I really want to create a community. I want to be a place where whether that looks like every now and again we all get together and we go out for dinner. There's a lot to be said around sitting around a table and enjoying a meal with fellowship. Whether that looks like regular small groups, whether it looks like retreats, whether there's a book in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I want people to know that they're not going through this alone. You know, that it's more common than you would think.
Yeah.
And sadly, it's getting more and more common.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
I picked up on a question I was going to ask you before was more about when we spoke, we were talking about how divorce can turn very nasty, but you're advocating for dignity in divorce.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Because one thing I've come to realize, I have no relationship now with my ex, which saddens me immensely. But any form of communications ended, trust was destroyed because of the legal process. And we have a child. We have a family dog. You know, we had stepchildren who were introduced into that family. And it's like someone just threw a grenade into it. It's gone. And I would want to advocate for the amicable idea really is around the legalities of the admin.
Yeah.
Because the law is quite clear on who gets and equal shares of whatever. But the dignified element is where the relationship can be protected, hopefully, and restored.
Gotcha. Because
if that gets destroyed in the arguments over money and pensions and houses and co-parenting frameworks and the relationship is gone, you're in each other's lives, whether you like it or not, especially if you have kids. And essentially, my ex-wife now is a stranger. We pass in the street. We don't talk. I see her coming the other way, walking the dog, and I dart that way because she's made a choice to live a life without me. If I know she's going to be somewhere, I won't go because it's boundaries, and I'm honouring her choice. Yeah. But I would prefer that we had some relationship.
Yeah.
It's more difficult if you've got young kids, because you have to talk about school parents' evenings, and when there's uniforms to be bought, who's paying for the school uniforms, the next pair of football boots, the ballet shoes, practical stuff. You have to be able to send a text message so being dignified on both sides. Yeah. Because this is not a one-way street. No. I will be advocating for that with any future clients. And I will also be making it clear that I'm pro-marriage. And the first call I will ever have with a potential client will be around, where is your marriage at right now? And is there any hope that it can be saved? Because I'm not wanting to sign someone up to a 12-week course of unpacking a marriage if there was hope. Yeah. I don't want to encourage people down this path. If sadly they're on this journey, then I'll be their friend, their guide, their coach. But I do not want to encourage them to make these choices. They have to make these decisions themselves.
From what I've picked up, it's important to get help much earlier on.
Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned going to therapy.
Yeah.
What were the things that you wish you knew that could be helpful for someone that is going through that journey right now?
Yeah.
Or at the start of that journey?
Yeah, I mean, you hear this saying, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. I wish someone had told me that because I felt ashamed. I felt guilty. I felt a lot of anger at that time. I think I'd like them to know that they're not alone. Reach out for help as soon as possible. And don't be afraid to be open and honest in the right environment.
Yeah.
It's the pub on a Friday night after 6 pints, the place to be
Yeah,
crying.
yeah.
You know, I can tell you from experience there are no answers at the bottom of a pint glass. There's only pain. If you're in a bad place, there's only pain there.
Yeah. Obviously for you, your story isn't over. What
Yeah, that's
else
right.
can we expect from you apart from the podcast? What's coming
We've got
up?
a book coming in the next few months, hopefully, which is going to be a book about the journey I've been on from separation through divorce, navigating the co-parenting landscape, lessons that I've learned. Working title, Ex-Wife, New Life. So I think you can expect what I hope will be the 2.0 version of me, which will be, I can only be who I am now.
Yeah.
And I want to step into that future. And I just watch this space.
Yeah.
There's the best things are yet to come.
I love that. And then in the choked there, that was so weird. I want to go back a little bit more back to your younger self, knowing the things that you know now. What would you advise young Simon that was, struggling with his own identity, self-worth? Like, what would you say to him?
Wow, that's a massive, massive question. I would give him a big hug first and tell him that he is loved and that he is going to have an awesome life and that he will make a difference, that his life will be one that will have been worth living. Do you ever see that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? It's always played at Christmas. It's an old black and white movie. And whenever I watch it, it makes me sad because I can see myself in that main character. But I would just tell the younger me that he's going to do incredible things and travel the world. You know, I remember being in my parents' garden, kicking a ball against the garage in the what seemed like forever summer holidays. And we never went on overseas like flights and stuff. And I used to look up and see planes and think, where are they going? Who are these people on that plane? Is it going to America maybe or Australia? And I've traveled extensively. Travel's always been a massive thing for me. I'm going to travel more. But I would tell my younger self that your life isn't confined to this back garden. You're not going to be kicking a ball against that wall on your own for the rest of your life. You're going to travel, see places that you can only dream of, meet amazing people, have a family of your own one day, have kids, you know? And just the fact, like I said before, the fact I've made it to 51 years old, I am actually blown away by that.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you don't know how long you've got.
True.
I would first of all tell him, you're going to get to 51, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Just relax.
We made it.
You know, and again, if my 80-year-old self could come and go, just so you know, you made it to 80. Because none of us know.
No, yeah.
None of us know. But I would just give him a big hug and say, you're going to be okay. You're going to have some tough times, but never, ever give up hope. And know that God loves you. That's the big thing I would tell him.
Before we round up, I feel like you've brought this books, and I would love to know your review of them, why you recommend it. So this is going to be Simon Recommends.
Okay. I'm actually thinking of doing like a Simon Says concept.
Yeah.
Like,
so you can start here.
Yeah,
because you want to get the books and show us.
Yeah, sure. This book just come to the top for some reason. I've only just got this, but I've read it, and it's by a lady called Sarah Knight, and it's called Calm the F Down.
Yeah.
And this is full of really practical tips, which I've really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
This was a book I read as part of a men's group years ago, Wild at Hearts, which is an American guy. And this is about discovering the secret of a man's soul.
Wow.
And again, you can see the notes that I make and sort of drawing the margins and stuff. he talks in this book about how boys should be climbing trees, getting bruises, getting cuts, banging their heads. Boys shouldn't be in classrooms and being overly like mothered and stuff. It's about setting boys to be their true adventurous selves. This was a book I got a couple of years ago, which I couldn't initially afford to pay for therapy. Yeah. And Owen O'Kane, he's an Irish guy. He's got a fantastic podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
But this book is, again, full of really practical tips on how to understand your story, where you've come from, where you're going, and how to deal with anxiety and take better care of yourself as well. So that's been really good. And this book, I've actually lost the cover for this book. It used to come in like a really nice bonded cover, but I've read it so much that you can see the highlights, the notes. This is called The Purpose-Driven Life.
I love that.
By a guy called Rick Warren. And I first bought this book, I've even written there, bought 22nd of December, 2003 in Denver, Colorado.
Wow.
And I've just written some notes on that day here saying, don't suffer in fear of your future. And I believe that God created you with purpose in mind. Wow. And I've written significant notes each chapter. This book's designed over 40 days.
Wow.
So you're meant to read one chapter a day for 40 days.
I love that. Very intentional.
It's a Christian book, but you wouldn't need to be a Christian to read it and enjoy it. And it's talking about living a journey with purpose, understanding that you are not an accident, that you were born, with purpose in mind, seeing life from God's view, just really, really important chapters. And not understanding here, this is a massive one for me. Life is a temporary assignment. We're not here for eternity. We're going to be here, then we're going to be in heaven. We all have different words for heaven, paradise. We have different words for God. I understand that, but understanding that what we're here for it's temporary.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life. Do your best. Yeah. Love others. Love yourself. But understand that you will spend eternity with God.
Powerful.
And when we get there, there's no more pain. There's no more suffering. There's no more self-doubt. There's no more, what am I going to wear today? Who am I going to be today? Where am I going to go today? You are spending eternity with God. Yeah. In perfection, in happiness.
I love that. On that note, if you were to give one life advice to wrap up, what would it be?
One piece of life advice to wrap up. Wow. Believe in yourself. Powerful. Even when others don't.
Powerful. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
You're more than welcome. It's been great.
Until next time.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to do a high five or a shake? I usually do a high five, so I feel like,